Welcome to Everything is Messy, the podcast. I'm your host, Kellyanne Gorman. I'm someone who loves to create content, products, and services to help others level up in business and in life. I even wrote a book about it, and now I have a store. Everything is Messy is a one-stop shop for women who want it and deserve it all. From personal development to productivity, podcasting and publishing, small business strategies to entrepreneurship, and so much more. Tune in every week to enjoy this one-of-a-kind podcast experience and hear fun, fearless, and focused conversations from myself and my incredible guests. From trending topics to stories of resilience and all things business. And let's not forget about a few of my favorites: mindset, healthy recipes, and organizing tips. These episodes are created to get you to where you want to be right now. The purpose of the show is to motivate you, inspire you, and prove to you that anything is possible if you just put in the work. So grab your favorite notebook and pen, because it's time to get organized and turn those dreams of yours into reality. I'm living proof that manifesting and visualizing and having a never give up attitude work. And now it's my job to help you achieve your goals by doing the same, or just to provide some laughs along the way. I'm so glad you are here. Today's episode starts now. Hello, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Everything is Messy podcast. I'm your host, Kellyanne Gorman, and today I'm going to give you a little life update on my health and what's been going on. I finally have some answers. And the whole purpose of this episode is so that I can share how I stay organized when it comes to organizing my medical records and following up with doctors and getting extra opinions and more eyeballs on my scans. And I want to share this because it's really important. And I think that I am so good when it comes to being productive and proactive when it comes to anything medically related. You have to be organized. You have to always consistently follow up. You're not the only patient on the planet. And it is our job, unfortunately, as patients to continuously follow up. You know, the doctor has to help other patients. Their medical assistant has to follow up. But it's our job as a patient to make sure that what is getting done to us and what we have coming up, and that our records are all aligned and doctors are communicating, like that is our job. And it's a lot. And I've been dealing with this for many, many years. And I'm kind of back at square one with like getting a couple things situated with my body that I'm going to share with you today, because I think it's just really important to share. So I'm just going to dive right in to all of my thoughts. And I'm going to keep it short and sweet because it is the holidays and I have a lot to share, but I think it's really important that you stay to the very end because I have a gift for you. And also, I just want you to share this with a friend or really take notes. If you are going through something health related or somebody in your family or friends, like share this episode with them, because what I share is really valuable. And I know that because it saved my life on way more than one occasion. So here's the situation. I posted earlier on my social media, episode 284. It was about a month ago, a little bit over a month. So in the beginning of October, I started getting like these weird back pains. And I had been rowing for like 6 or 9 months straight. I don't even know. And I stopped rowing and my back was hurting. And it was like the weirdest thing. First it was my neck, then it was my upper back, then it was my lower back. And I'm like, what the hell? So I made an executive decision to start seeing a chiropractor, which I talked about on this, I've talked about on the show a couple of times, and they were amazing. But one day I was like, oh my God, they're really like what happened to this lower part of my back? And it just kept hurting. And I went back to them and I was like, just put your hand in this one area. Like, this is not like something you can adjust. Like, something is going on. Long story short, I ended up going to the emergency room. I spent the entire day there and I go prepared. I brought my laptop. I brought my notebook. I brought my planner. I brought my headphones and my highlighters. Like, when I go to the ER, I have so much PTSD about being sick from before, but being misdiagnosed. By the way, wait to hear what happened to me this time. So I go prepared. Like, I did not know what was happening, and I have a really high tolerance of pain, and that can be a good or bad thing. In this case, I'm glad that I finally told myself and I listened to my body, like, get your ass to the emergency room because this is not normal. Like, I can handle a lot of pain, and that's the downfall, because I can work through anything. And I worked through all of my chemos. And I have a good friend doing that right now, and like, shout out to her, because it is so much work. And I know there's thousands and millions of other patients that have to work through chemo, and it's literally the worst fucking thing on the planet. But I have a lot of PTSD when it comes to anything happening to me medically. And I thought I was so healthy. I'm intermittent fasting. I'm drinking my green juices. I'm meal prepping like a boss. I share all my recipes in my book and online, and I have my little treats every now and then. I like my red wine, but like, at the end of the day, I eat so many green vegetables, it's not even funny. Like, I have chlorophyll in my water every day. I drink saffron green tea every day. Like, I drink super coffee that has vitamins and antioxidants. Like, I make really good choices when it comes to doing all of this to keep my body where it needs to be, but also improve it. Not even keep it. I want to improve it, like consistently improve it on a regular basis, daily basis rather. So I'm doing all these things, and I'm like, something's wrong, because I look 8 months pregnant. Every time I eat, my stomach expands, and now I have this weird back pain. So I go to the ER specifically for my back. So I pack my bag, like I just said, I brought everything there, and I literally was on a hospital cot in the hallway. This is how busy the hospital was. It wasn't COVID patients, it was just sick patients. And the overflow from the patients that had been admitted had come into the emergency room. So I was literally on a cot in the hallway. So I was directly across from the nurse's station, which I kind of enjoyed because I like to see how that process runs. As a patient advocate, I think it's really important. And I have a couple friends that are nurses, so I hear what they have to say as well. But literally just hearing them bitch and complain about things that should be fixed by the hospital, they shouldn't have to go through that. Their job is to help us, right? And they're not able to do that because of paperwork or something else. So again, another point where it's our job as a patient to make sure our records are where they need to be, visible, online, in our patient portal, all that stuff. Okay, so I go back I check myself into the hospital, and I'm my back is killing me. It's just this one spot. And I'm I was rowing 5-6 times a week. I walk on the beach all the time. I have this TRX band I use every now and then. That's maybe once or twice a week, but I don't remember pulling anything. But this pain is getting worse and worse. And I go from rowing 5 times a week to having a strained neck, which I honestly thought it was driving in LA traffic. I usually go there once every 2 months. And I thought it was the stress, the strain. I didn't know. So that's when I started going to the chiropractor. So I'm telling them all of this. I'm giving them my history, blah, blah, blah. So they're okay, we need to do they did all the normal things, right? A full panel of labs, an EKG, an X-ray, a CT, and an ultrasound. So I go in for back pain. My back was fucking killing me. And the only shoes, I'm very specific when it comes to my shoes. I only wear New Balance. But then I found APLs, which are absolute next level and is worth over $200 for each and every pair that you own. And there is a whole science and technology, and I was going to say a million, but there are multiple pro athletes that train in these and run in these, and they're the best sneaker on the planet. So shout out to APLs. I couldn't go anywhere unless I was wearing APLs. I created a stand-up desk because I thought that would help my back. It was weeks, and I was fuck this. I have to go to the emergency room. This is so bad. So I'm explaining everything to them, how I'm healthy, how I'm eating, how I'm working out. I go for walks. I literally couldn't do anything unless I was in my comfy, cozy socks, in my APLs. I could no longer wear my New Balance. My heels were killing me. I could only wear my comfy, cozy socks, the big, obnoxious ones you wear to bed. That's what I had to wear during the day, in my shoe, on a standing mat, working. And then I would have to rotate, standing up, sitting down, standing up, sitting down. So I'm telling them all of this. They do all of these scans. So I go in there for back pain. What I left with was an ovarian cyst, gallstones, and a mass that was in my small and large intestine, in the middle of it. So if you follow me on Instagram, I showed you actually I made a video on TikTok to survive that day. I had to get a colonoscopy, an emergency gallbladder surgery, and my fibroids are back and all of these other things. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Like, is this a joke? And even on Halloween, I was going to a friend's and I had scrubs from last year's costume because I had my whole mouth redone because of chemo. And so I finally got all of that situated. And I didn't know at the Halloween party if I was going to be in rough shape. I literally had to like make mashed potatoes, jello, like everything, and like bring to the party so I could actually like consume food on top of like all the alcohol I planned on drinking. So I was like, okay, well, let me just do like super simple makeup. I'll wear a mask and I'll have my scrubs on. So this year I recycled that and I was self-care. And so I had the scrubs on and then I brought like a clear bag with like face masks and all of this. I had a super heavy production level. I had to produce a ton of shows, and one I was producing like as she launched. So I was like curled up in a ball, like banging out these shows like nobody's business. And thank God I survived that, because I would have felt like shit if I couldn't do that, because normally I don't produce as they launch, but that's just how it worked out this time. So she launched on time. Everything was perfect, but I was curled up in a ball. I was in so much pain. Excuse me. And, I couldn't take it anymore. I had to go back to the emergency room. I didn't go to this year's Halloween party. I think this is the first Halloween I missed out. I think. I'm almost positive. Anyway, I have all these issues. So I'm like, how the fuck do I go from rowing to the chiropractor to being healthy and intermittent fasting and eating all the greens and yada, 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 and then going in for back pain and coming out with all of these issues? So now it's time, like my mind was blown. And then now I have anxiety. I'm getting vertigo because I'm anxious and I have PTSD and like all this shit's happening. And I'm like, well, it's a good thing I listened to my fucking body and I got my ass to the emergency room. And I didn't know what a gallbladder surgery looked like. I still have yet to get it. I'm supposed to get it like in the beginning of January, like probably mid-January. So I've changed my diet, which I'll get into, because this is like the biggest pain in the ass to me, to be honest. I'm just going to keep it 100% real with you, because it's like really frustrating and it's giving me anxiety about like what the fuck I can put in my mouth, because I have multiple people telling me multiple things and I'm like, everything is a trigger. So the reason, again, why I'm sharing this episode is because when this happens to you, you're going to understand. If you know somebody that's going through this, they will understand, and you need to share this episode with them, because it's just not fun. So I end up getting an appointment for my colonoscopy. I'm 43. I'm very young to be getting that. Usually you're over 50, but if you have an issue, then you need to get one. And the video I made on my TikTok and then I was sharing out my stories is, heads up for you future patients of getting a colonoscopy. Everybody says that this drink you have to have is like the worst part of it. You have to drink a gallon laxative. Yeah, I said it. One whole fucking gallon of a laxative. It's this powder, and then they give you a lemon pack flavoring. And what you can add is more electrolytes and juice, but certain juices. So I actually just blended cranberry with water. So it was just 100% pure cranberry juice. And I used an elderberry flavor of a electrolyte packet I got at my local Sprouts, and I used the lemon, and it absolutely has to be chilled. There's no way in hell you will survive drinking this laxative. I mentally prepared myself. I went to the beach. I walked for like 2.5 hours before I came home and had to drink this entire gallon. Now they say you drink half before the day before, the other half the morning of, but you have to finish 3 hours prior. So I'm like, well, that means I have to get up at 3. I'll finish the other half in 45 minutes, 3:45, because I have to be there at 6:45. Well, I met with my gallbladder surgeon and she's like, why are you going to torture yourself? Just fucking drink it the day before. So my colonoscopy was scheduled. I had it, it'll be this coming, today's Friday, this coming Monday, it'll be 2 weeks ago that I had it. So I, the day before, so it was on Saturday. So Friday I ate normal food. and this is going to be like the 411 on colonoscopy prep. So Friday I had like my normal meal preps, like normal food, nothing greasy, nothing fried, like nothing. I think I had a glass of wine because I was like, I gotta have a glass of red wine to like survive the next few days. So I did that. The following day, Saturday, I had all smoothies, like everything blended. So the soups I had prepped, I blended into a bisque. The protein shake and the green juice obviously is already blended. So that's what I ate. I think I had like a green juice, a smoothie, and 2 different soups. And then I made the most delicious vegetable broth I've ever made from scratch, which I'll never buy broth in a store again. And my friend was like, I don't know how you out of everybody else, like anybody else rather, like hasn't made your own veggie broth, which I thought was weird too. But now I always will. Because you can't eat a thing when you have this laxative for your colonoscopy. So I drank my homemade vegetable broth all day with this laxative. And when I say you cannot leave your house, well, what they say, quote unquote, they say you cannot leave your house, you cannot leave your bathroom. And I'm not going to get graphic, but I'm just saying I brought my laptop and my notebook and my planner into the bathroom. Like, why am I going to keep getting up and down? Like, just make my life easy. I watched a show. I just hung out on my little throne. And that's exactly what you're going to have to do. Sorry if that's too much TMI. But you are drinking a gallon of a laxative. So I did that all day from 12 to like 7:30. I pounded the first few hours. I was like, I just want to fucking get through this. And so I finished in about 7.5 hours. And then the next day I had absolutely nothing. I just woke up and went to my colonoscopy. I was a nervous wreck. They told me to be there 6:45. They weren't even open till 7:15. So that's like super annoying because I can't have coffee. I can't have water. I'm like thinking all these things. I have to go under anesthesia. Like it's just too much. So everything was fine. I come out and here's the best part. Like, why do the doctors and surgeons come out to your room and try to have a conversation with you when you were just under anesthesia? Like, why? You remember half of it. You can't like write anything down. I was completely naked except for like, what do they call them? Johnnies. I was like, yeah, okay, yep. So anyway, long story short, when I was at the surgeon, my gallbladder surgeon, she told me that, the mass that's in between your small and large intestine, it's really big, like the size of a softball, big. It doesn't belong there. And I don't know if they're going to be able to get it all out during the colonoscopy. So then we definitely need surgery because then I'm going to have to go in there and take that with your gallbladder. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? How the fuck does this even happen? And so I come out of surgery now for my colonoscopy and procedure. It's not really like a super surgery. It's a procedure. You're in and out and like, there's so many things that these doctors and surgeons can handle with a robot as long as you're knocked out under anesthesia. It literally blows my mind. I've had 3 myectomy surgeries to remove fibroids, and you're only there for like a couple hours in and out. The recovery is worse because for 6 weeks you have to recover, and I've had 3 of those, and I'm hoping that I'm not going to need another one because that's also on my plate, which I'll share about in a minute. So I come out of surgery, and he tells me, what they saw on the scan was actually your valve. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, but you did have 6 polyps that we removed. So that's good. So then from there, we go to pathology. Well, I got a call last Monday morning. Like I was literally the first patient they called. It was like 8:02 or 8:03. And I feel bad for the person that called me because I was so rude. And then I obviously apologized after, but all I heard was the word cancer. And I like almost fell to the floor and I almost lost my shit. And I was like, you need to stop right now. Like, just stop because I can't hear you. Like, this is literally what I said. And then when I went into my friend's garage, I can finally hear her. And I'm like, okay, first of all, I'm so sorry. Like, all I heard was cancer. Can you please start over? And she's like, no, it's okay. Like, what an asshole I am. I'm like, I apologize like 5 more times. I was like, okay, can you start over? And she's like, okay, so we got the report from pathology and everything that came out, like we got everything out, but it was all precancerous. So what does that mean? If I didn't listen to my fucking body and go to the goddamn ER earlier, or like, thank God, like I went, so that was a good choice, right? Should I have gone earlier? At this point, it doesn't really matter, but I went. So this is point number 1. You need to listen to your fucking body. If you are a workaholic like me and You are busy with your kids. You're busy with your family. You're not going to be able to do that if you're 6 feet under. So this was a huge fucking wake-up call for me once again. So everything they took out was precancerous. If I didn't go, that was going to grow into cancer. And somebody like me who has a really high tolerance of pain, it would probably be like, oh, by the way, you have stage 4 cancer, because I would wait because I can't feel it and things like that. Like, you just don't realize. So that's life update number 1. I do not have cancer. They got everything out. Thank God. Now my fibroids are back. And this happens every 3 years. I had 2 surgeries in 2014 and then another one in, was it 2013, I think? And then 2016. And that's when my whole misdiagnosis thing started, was at my pre-op for that surgery. And they're supposed to come back every 3 years. So they haven't. And I think because my body was under so much stress and I was freaking out, like this month was like just too much. And so I had an appointment with a doctor yesterday and they're like, okay, well, your fibroids have grown. You have an ovarian cyst, like all these things. So we just need to like stay on the lookout and like just see if something happens. And then if it does, I'll have to get another ultrasound and then we'll see if I need a hysterectomy, which I really don't want to get. I have some friends that have had it and they've already suggested that to me multiple times. But if I still want to get pregnant, like that's out. So there's that. Is this too much TMI for you? I'm giving you all the info on my personal health status because I know that it's going to help at least one person by sharing this. And what's the next step? Okay. So now I have to deal with the gallstones. Now, when I was in the emergency room, I was talking to a couple friends that have actually had their gallbladder out because I was freaking the hell out. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't have a surgery. It's 6 weeks recovery. Like, what the hell? And again, it's so simple. Like, they go in with the little robots and then you're good. And you literally can't lift anything for 6 weeks. That's it. Excuse me. And I have a cough and I'm nasally, and that's a whole nother situation. So I'll get into that next. I'm like falling apart, but I'm keeping my thoughts and my mind as positive as possible. And another reason why I'm recording this episode is because my memory, like, I black out when it comes to things medically related. So if I can't help anybody here, then at least I can listen to it myself and remember what the hell happened. So, gallbladder. So if you usually they'll take it right out when you're in the emergency room, and they didn't. And so the pain comes and goes. And it's so ironic because it's been fine the last like week. Today, I don't know what happened. I have had nothing that is different, and I look 8 months pregnant again. I don't know what's going on. And I haven't changed my diet. Like, I'm doing everything that like both doctors are telling me, and like kind of creating like a middle situation of like my menu. It's giving me anxiety. So I didn't end up getting the gallbladder surgery there. They wanted me to follow up with the surgeon, so that's what I did. I've already followed up with her. Now I need a medical clearance because of my past, so I'm waiting on that. And now I have another follow-up with the surgeon so that we can see, like, if I'm going to do it. And to be quite honest with you, the last thing I want to do is to get a fucking surgery to kick off my 2022. But at the end of the day, I'm grateful to have insurance. I'm grateful that I'm alive. I'm grateful I don't have cancer because they got everything out. And I'm grateful that I have created a life for myself that I'm able to take the time off when I need it because I own my own business. So there's a lot of factors here that are kind of pushing me. And also the fact that they thought that I have a massive, like a mass in my intestines, and it was actually a valve. I will always tell you to get a second, third, fourth, fifth. I had 11 opinions when it came to my MS and NMO. At the end of the day, closing all my cases, 11. I had 5 that were wrong and 6 that were right. And then when I sued, I got the last 6. And that's the top diagnosing expert in the world. Like, I wasn't fucking messing around. And I cannot do the same right now. So I am like on next level, like organizing all of my medical records. Like, this is the shit you have to do. It's literally a fucking job, and it's the last thing I want to do right now. Sorry for the F-bombs, but I'm just really passionate right now about like helping you do this if you ever have to, or if you share this episode with someone, like if they have to, like, this is the shit you have to do. It's a fucking full-time job. It's the last thing you want to do, especially during the holiday season. But at the end of the day, I'm meditating, I'm doing my sound baths, and I'm just being grateful that I'm able to even stand here and record the show for you, because this week and last week, it's been like an emotional roller coaster. The fact that, what if I never went to the emergency room? Like, I would have cancer. Like, I already did chemo for dizzy. Like, I'm not doing that again. So I really have to pay attention. So now with the whole gallbladder situation, I am really, I would say I'm like 95% sure I'm just going to move forward with the surgery, because it's fucking up my eating and like what I can eat, because I have two doctors that are contradicting themselves, like how I can eat, like what foods will trigger it. And now today, which is so weird, I've had nothing that's different. I look 8 months pregnant. So if I move forward with the surgery, that's like almost getting a second opinion. Like, she's going in there to make sure like there really isn't cancer in there, because the fact that they read on this is one of the reasons why I was misdiagnosed in the first place, is because they read a report. They didn't look at the fucking scan, but I didn't have anything for them to cut me open at that point. It was a disease. So they were giving me brain MRIs like every other day. It felt like I've had like almost 30, maybe even more than that. But now I feel like, okay, if I can continue on a healthy life, like obviously I need my gallbladder out. I have a lot of gallstones. I'm just, knock on wood, like not in pain today. But I'm not even kidding, 8 months pregnant at this very moment. I should take a picture and do like a side by side to like show like, this is what it looks like when you have gallstones. And I'm not in pain. Again, knock on wood, like I'm good. But for some reason, something I ate, all I had was my veggie stir fry, whatever. Like, you don't need to know what I ate, but it's like super healthy. And something just happened within like the last couple of hours that triggered. So by moving forward with the surgery, then it's like she's going in there to make sure everything is out, because the fact that they thought it was a valve, a mass, but it was actually a valve, and they said they got everything out. Well, now she's going to go in there surgically anyway, so go in there and double check. Like, that's literally where my mind is at right now. Like, I need you to look around, like, one more time, because everybody said, oh, it's too big, I don't think they can get it out. Well, what they were referring to was something that fucking belongs there. So yes, I'm angry, but at the same time, I'm like, well, good thing it wasn't, and good thing it's like out, because now I'm not going to have cancer. So there's that. So now with the food, I have one doctor telling me carbs and broth only. She's like, I don't know if you're going to like this, but carbs and broth is like all that you should really be eating. And I was like, do I have a problem eating carbs and broth? Not really. Who doesn't love a good carb? And then also my broth, now that I make homemade veggie broth, like that was one of the most delicious things I've ever made. And I'm like, yeah, I don't have a problem with that at all. But I swear to God, I wake up like craving greens. I wake up craving meat, like red meat, and I won't eat it. Like, I only have ground turkey. I don't really make chicken at home. I usually use ground turkey, but I am like fiending for meat, and I'm super anemic right now. And so I have to go get labs today. I'm just going to give you the whole rundown on my health history. I'm just kidding. But I'm anemic, so they told me I can't donate blood anymore, which is super frustrating, because it took me almost 3 years to get cleared and get all the chemo out of my system so that I could help save the lives of others. And now they're like, no, you can't do that. So that sucks, because they still call. They're like, are you able to donate again? Like, I really just want to say fuck it and just go. But now that I'm having health issues, that's not the smartest thing, because you can't give, you just can't do that and like risk ever hurting another patient with the blood that you're donating. Like, it goes through a whole process, but like, I would never do that. That's like, the thought wouldn't cross my mind. But that's another reason why I always put chlorophyll in my water, because it helps clean out your blood and really stabilize you. And it has like a million other benefits. But that's why I started drinking chlorophyll water when I wanted to start donating blood last year. So anyway, one doctor is telling me to have carbs and broth only. Another one is telling me continue on with my meal prep. Don't have spicy, don't have fried, like less alcohol. I mean, it's a stressful time. So like, yeah, I want a glass of wine. So I'm trying to drink less. And then another one is saying, okay, you can't have anything blended or raw. It has to be like on top. So I'm like, well, that is raw. So when it comes to my protein shakes, like I'm not supposed to have protein, but I can have the smoothie. But now I can't have the smoothie. The fruit has to be on a Greek yogurt. But I'm like, well, I don't do dairy like that. I don't eat Greek yogurt. Well, you can have avocado. I'm like, well, I was just told I can't have avocado or coconut because it's high fat. So like, which is it? So it's like so fucking frustrating because if you've been following me for a while, read my book or listening to the show, like I'm obsessed with creating healthy recipes. I literally have a notebook, one of my Everything is Messy notebooks, and I have food lists. I have food lists in my phone. I have food lists in my planner. In my notebook rather. I have food lists everywhere, so that like if I go out, if it's not on the list, then I won't eat it. If I have my notebook, I can look at it and then create menus and healthy recipes from like what I am able to eat. So I made a whole list of all the foods, and now I have 2 other doctors telling me I have to eat them a different way or not at all. I'm like, so which is it? And then I'm like, okay, well, I was told I can't have avocado, coconut, protein, all of that. So like, what am I supposed to eat? And she's like, well, then you definitely are going to need your gallbladder out. Seriously? Like, that's fucking common sense. Why do you think I'm like eating this way? So now I'm just like, okay, I'm just trying to eat like as clean as possible. I don't eat Greek yogurt. Like the recipe in my book is vegan Greek yogurt. That's how I created the vegan pizza dough. So I'm like, and I hate yogurt because it reminds me of going through chemo, and I would get it all the time and I would never eat it. That's like a whole nother story. I don't know why I ever did that, but like I did it every single week. And my best friend would always be like, why are you getting that again? You hate it. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just craving it, but I would never eat it. So that's like a big trigger. It's like yogurt. It makes me think I'm sick again. And so she told me, she's like, oh, get Greek yogurt. I'm like, no, absolutely not. No Greek yogurt. So it's like kind of a joke between my friends and I. I'm like, they told me to have fucking yogurt. They're like, oh my God. So now I'm just like, okay, so I can have green juice, but I can't have an apple in it, like no sugar. And then for my lunch, I have brown rice with stir-fried veggies. Like I eat a ton of greens. It's honestly just my favorite. But now I can't have my raw string beans. And if I have my stir fry, I can't have rice. It just has to be the veggies. And then for my soup, tomatoes have too much sugar. So now it comes down to sugar. And I'm like, make up your mind. Like this is literally giving me the most anxiety. And I'm so organized when it comes to like food and creating menus. And I just need everything written down in front of me. And then this is what I used to do on yachts. And then I would create a menu, like see what you have in your pantry, like use what you have and create a menu. And, that's how you concoct like delicious, healthy recipes. But now it's like I can't even get the damn list right because I have all these people telling me how to eat certain things, whether it's raw, whether it's on top, whether it's frozen, whether it's blended. I'm like, fuck this. Like, I'm just going to make a soup. I'm just going to make my smoothie, and I'm just going to hopefully survive until I get this damn gallbladder out because it's like so frustrating. And again, I'm sharing this because this is what you're going to go through when you have to ever like deal with anything I'm like telling you about right now. But at the end of the day, I'm doing this to hopefully share my story. I mean, there's like a lot of personal details in here, but I mean, what haven't I not shared on the show? So I wanted to kind of recap and just really close out the episode with just sharing that there's reasons why I am where I am with my health right now. And it's because I'm organized in an OCD matter of way because it's the only way I saved my own life. And I'm not even kidding, exaggerating one little bit when it comes to that. Oh, I almost forgot to tell you about my latest medical issue. I'll tell you that in a minute. So I want you to make a list in your phone or in a notebook of all of your appointments that you have coming up for the new year. Like at the end of the year, I'm actually going to do a show next week about how I end my year content, how I prepare for a new one. I always like to end the year with a show like that, but with medically related or health related things, it needs to be done the same way. I'm not even kidding. You just need to make a list. So again, like I just said, in your phone or in your notebook of all your appointments coming up, make sure you have all the proper contacts. Make sure you are in the patient portal. What I do is in the doctor's contact in my phone, where the note section is, in that contact, I write down the email. I usually like write it in code because like, God forbid somebody stole my phone, they could figure it out. I write in code my username, and my password in the contacts of the doctor. So that way when I need to go to the patient portal, which by the way, here's another tip. If doctors aren't calling you back, you need to be logging into your patient portal and message them as much as you feel like you need to, because sometimes they don't have time to call you back, but then they have some medical assistant like banging out messages, like answering all these patients back. So that's a quicker way. I'm doing that literally right now with another doctor that I'm dealing with, which has nothing to do with this last story I just told you, but I will tell you that in a minute. So that's one of my tips, is I leave all the info in a contact in my phone and, write it in code. That way you always have access to your online records and then lists of your doctors. You can even put it in the notes section in your phone, and then keep track of things that are happening to you, like your own little medical journal. If you're healthy and you don't need to do this, like, don't do it. But if something is happening and you have these weird things happening to you, you need to start keeping track. I like to take pictures because they're dated. Or I'll just put something in my notes and have like an ongoing list, or I'll just like make a new note. But you have to keep track, because the most annoying thing from the medical, like on a medical standpoint, but also patient, you're going to get frustrated, is when they ask you 500 fucking questions and you don't remember. I literally blacked out the other day when I was at a doctor. He's like, yeah, we read your CT scan. I'm like, what? And I just looked at him. He's like, your CT scan, you got a CT scan. That's why you came. And I'm like, oh yeah, like I literally black it out, and that's really bad. That's from my PTSD, but I need to keep notes. That just was like a refresher course for me. Like, get your shit together. Like, you need to have things dated. And I was just like writing everything down. So even me, the most organized person on the planet, like some things fell through the cracks. And now I'm like, fuck, that's a wake up call. Like, I should be paying more attention to my health. I'm like buried in work, and I'm like, I'm not going to be buried at work. I'm going to be buried, period, if I don't get my shit together, because you have to be organized with your records. So make sure that you have lists. Things are dated. You're constantly taking photos if you need to document. You have your patient portals all lined up. This is a really important tip, especially if you're somebody's caregiver and you are their healthcare proxy and you have access to their records or need access to your records. You better make sure that they sign that paperwork over to you and you have access, because if something happens, you're not going to be able to get your hands on anything. It's going to be too late. So you have to make sure that you're doing all of this, but then also getting second, third, fourth, however many opinions that you need, and getting more eyeballs on your scans. Like, I'm very lucky. I have doctors that can look at my stuff that aren't my doctors. And the last few times I didn't, I don't know why. And he even asked, like, why didn't you have me look at that? And I'm like, I don't even know, because I was busy. Like, I don't know. And so if you have somebody on your team or a friend of the family, whatever, like to get like more eyeballs on your things or read labs or do whatever when it comes to your health or somebody else's that you're taking care of, make sure that you're just being consistent in the way that you feel most comfortable with keeping your shit organized, especially when you have kids. Like, you should have a folder for each of them and have documents in there. If you're somebody that likes to do everything online, create an Excel spreadsheet, create a Word doc, something. Always email it to you. Always email it to yourself. Or a couple tricks that you can do is, if you take a picture of something, you use this app called Cam Scanner, like camera, Cam Scanner, and that turns it into a PDF. And then you could keep it in the Books app on your phone. Or you can just email it to yourself and then flag the email so that you can type in the subject and you always have access to your own shit. I do that all the time with like everything. And so Cam Scanner, that's the name of the app. You take a picture and it turns it into a PDF. And then the Books app is where all your ebooks live, but that's also where all my PDFs live. And they have lived there for like over a decade on my iPhone. Or again, just attach it to your email. Whatever way works best for you. And then if you have a significant other, like if you're married, like figure out a plan on like how you're going to stay organized and how you're going to keep updating records. Like maybe just one of you be in charge, which usually I think would be the case. And just make sure that like your kids' appointments are scheduled. You have follow-ups. I make sure that I have, so everything in my planner, like if I opened it for you right now, it's color-coded. Every color has a meaning. blue is anything medical or dental. So it's appointments, it's follow-ups. Like I'm constantly taking notes. Like, okay, this doctor told me this. I have to follow up with this one. Here's the date. Here's the time. Here's the phone number I'm going to follow up. Like I'm telling you, it's a job, but it's the only way that it's going to help alleviate a hell of a lot of stress for you personally, but get you to where you need to be in like a healthy way, like whatever you're dealing with health related, then go get what needs to be taken care of. And this is the way that you're going to do that, by being organized, by following up, by getting second, third, fourth opinions, and everything I mentioned earlier. Now, when it comes to like listening to your body, I can't even say this. Like I've done so many episodes on this years ago and throughout the years, but like this was literally a wake-up call, a big fucking reality check. Like, do not take your health for granted. And I feel like I did, even though I felt like I've had COVID, I've had a couple other COVID scares. Like I'm trying, like, should I be working out a lot more? Yes. Should I have less treats? Yes. Are these things causing my current health situation? No, but they can be a factor towards it, right? So I'm like, okay, well, I need to be drinking less. I need to be having less happy hour. I need to, like, get your shit together, because life is just too short. And just hearing that word cancer, like, I don't want to cry in this episode because I really just want it to be like super informative, but that was a big fucking wake-up call that I needed. So moral of the story is you need to listen to your body. Please listen to your body, even if it's like the smallest thing and you're like, I feel like that's happened like a couple other times. You need to go to the emergency room and call your doctor ASAP. And when they don't answer you, you need to go on your little patient portal and you need to follow up, and be organized with every single thing that you have to be organized with when it comes to your health, your family's health, your child's health, whoever you're taking care of. Find a system that works best for you, because it's the only way that you're going to be able to be proactive and stay organized. And honestly, if you're not organized, that can set you back when you're trying to get a procedure done. If you don't follow up, if you're not constantly calling and emailing, like that will set you back. And then you can maybe be in even worse pain. And I'm telling you, because I lived through this for many years, the last thing you want to do is do all of this when you are in severe chronic pain. That is the absolute worst. And I would never wish that on anybody. But something else that's happening right now, which is really going to affect a lot of the content that I'm creating, because I'm so confused, and it's just something that this is the second time it's happened to me. So I have this cyst in my nose, and now my face is swollen. So I'm like super self-conscious about it. And it feels like a marble, like a hard marble, like something that you're like, let me warm it up and like pop it. No, it's like in my face, like in my it feels like a bone, like a growth. Is this too much information again for you? Because I feel like I have to share this, because now I need to get into clean beauty and like all this other stuff. So that came back. I had it in July. It was the weirdest thing. So they gave me a steroid cream I shove up my nose, and then antibiotics. So now I just went the other day because it came back and it's bigger. And I'm like, what is this thing like in my face? Like, this does not belong here. Like, what is this? And so they gave me the same steroid cream and then also antibiotics for like a month. And it's getting bigger, and today's day 3. And obviously, like when you're on antibiotics and all of that, like you need to give it a couple days. But I'm like, it's literally getting bigger. So while I'm there, that's when I realized like, oh, I had a CT scan before. Totally blacked that out because my doctor reminded me. And he's like, well, let me go look at your CT scan because they didn't see anything on there. So he comes back, and that's when he gave me the prescription for the steroid cream and the antibiotics. So he said, no ice. Like, you can't put anything ice. You need heat. And I'm like, I ice roll my face like nobody's business. Like, are you kidding me? I'm ice rolling for lymphatic drainage. I'm ice rolling to depuff. Like, ice is the best thing. Now I'm being told, no, you need heat. So luckily, Lauren Bostic, who created the Hot Mess Ice Roller, the Skinny Confidential one, she literally just posted on her Instagram stories the other day how something that was doing her facial heated up the ice roller why did I see that story? And why did I then know, like, I can heat up my ice roller? I'm like, that was somebody's way of telling me, like, and I never really scroll through stories. I just don't have the time. And I'm like, well, that's good, because now I can heat up my ice roller and like keep my face, because you're not going to put a heating pad on your face. And then I'm going to do my at home like steam with my rosemary, my green tea, my lemon, all that, like literally tonight, like all weekend long, because this thing needs to drain. And you can't see it. It's like in my face, like in my nose, but it hurts like so much. So he's like, no ice. And I'm like, okay. And then I pull off my mask and he's like, do you usually wear all this makeup? And I'm like, what? Like, I thought, like, I didn't understand why the hell he would be asking me that, because he was gearing towards like clogged pores and if this is like bacteria. And I'm like, well, I have to film today, but I either wear nothing or this, but this isn't like a lot. And I was like, that's so weird. And then, so I left the doctor, I got my medicine, and so I've been taking it. I think today's like day 3, but last night I was on FaceTime with my friend who's an esthetician, and she's like, that is literally called the triangle of death, which is like your nose, like inner brow area, like sinus region, right? And so she's like, that can literally cause, like, this area on your face is the worst. So she schooled me on so much that I like really needed to be educated about. But then also I told her, I'm blowing my nose and it's black. And now this morning I coughed and it was black. So then of course you go to Dr. Google, and Dr. Google is telling me that I have some fungal infection. So now I'm waiting for the doctor to call me back. And yes, I did go on the patient portal 3 times. And yes, I have called 4 times, and I'm still waiting to hear, but I will consistently call because I want to know why there's black shit coming out of my body. That's not normal. But what she did say, and I've talked about my lashes a lot lately because I've been using this new castor oil primer. When I take my makeup off, that shit can go in my eyeballs and come out my nose. And that castor oil can be causing this cyst. Problem solved. Maybe, hopefully, I don't know. Today's the first day I'm not using this castor oil primer, and I feel naked because I don't have my big, beautiful lashes, but it's a hell of a lot better than having this painful thing in my nose. So then I went down like a whole clean beauty rabbit hole, and that's like a whole nother episode, or 10 or 20. So I really want to start interviewing people that are experts with brain health, gut health, inflammation, dental health, clean beauty. I know a lot of clean beauty brands. It's just like, really, like, you're eating clean, but now you have to do like clean house products. Like, I already do that. The detergent, I need to switch, but like other things, I only use like vinegar, alcohol, and water. I'm trying to use less chemicals, you know, like with the oils, the essential oils. And now it's like, okay, now I have to do clean beauty. So it's like, if you're not eating clean, then like, why bother having clean household products or detergent? You're like still putting toxins and chemicals in your system. And then now you have to have clean beauty because it's going into your skin. And I like, did you think that when you take your makeup off, like it's going in your eyeballs and can come out your nose? Because I've never thought about that. And I was a makeup artist for like 16 years. That's not what we would think of in the day, but she's an esthetician. So she's been schooled on this, and she just like loves doing this kind of research. And so I learned that last night. So do I have a fungal infection? Do I have a cyst that won't go away? Or is this from the brand new primer that I just started using? I don't know. I'll keep you posted. But that's the last drama of my health situations at this very moment. So to wrap up today's episode, I just wanted to say thank you for listening. If you're still here, I'm sorry that was like a lot of TMI. But these are the episodes that get downloaded the most because I'm just real and raw. And I'm telling you like what I'm going through and how you can avoid it, and how you can be proactive, and how you can listen to your fucking body and just get your ass to the emergency room and not wait like I did. Knock on wood again. I was not diagnosed with the C word. They said, good thing you came because it's all out. So I'm very grateful for that. I'm grateful for you. I'm so glad you're here. I'm glad that, you know, I get to go through these fun little things in life so that I can share them with you and hopefully prevent you from going through something like this, or just educate you on random things that can help, you know, that will maybe happen to somebody that you know, or like just be more aware, like hyper aware of your health. So to wrap up finally today's episode, I do just want to remind you that I have a ton of brand deals that you can take advantage of on my website. You can just go to kellyannegorman.com, click on brand deals. They're all there. Fetch Rewards app is one of the apps I've been using. They're doing these insane giveaways. I think it ends in like 2 days. I think they did a 12-day giveaway like I did. You can win a shit ton of points that can then go towards gift cards or online shopping. So all you really need to do is just download the app and then scan your receipts and you get points. That's it. On their Instagram, the founder and creator of the app is doing these like massive giveaways. You just have to enter your code. If you use my code that you can find in the show notes or on my brand deals page, you'll get, I think, 2,000 to 4,000 additional points, like just to start. There's no cost. You literally just take pictures of your receipts and then you can actually scroll back and see like what you're spending. I love that. Super Coffee, if you're new here, you need to learn about Super Coffee ASAP. It's my favorite coffee. They have plant protein-based products. They are zero added sugar. There's all kinds of vitamins and L-theanine and antioxidants, vitamin B, vitamin D, so many good things. And if you use the code SUPERKELLY, you get 15% off. My 12 days of Christmas holiday giveaways end on Sunday. Today is Friday. So on Monday the 13th, I will be doing a live stream announcing all the winners. But if you are into plant-based superfoods like Asha Pots, K-Bella Beauty Masks, which are the #1 best-selling mask at your favorite store called Target. Again, Super Coffee, The Copper Vessel, personal coaching sessions from me, a signed copy of my book, products from Everything is Messy collection, Trader Joe's, and so much more. I am giving a shit ton of stuff away this holiday season. And if you would like to enter that giveaway, all you need to do is click the link in the show notes and you are automatically entered. If you want extra entries, then leave a review for this episode today. And lastly, Everything is Messy collection. The link, it will be in the show notes as well. It's 20% off all business, LinkedIn, podcast, personal development programs, as well as all of my apparel, my home, kitchen, and office decor, plus free shipping. So just head to everythingismessy.com. I think I added the code there. I think it's right on top to make your life easy because that's what I'm here for. And that's it. So let me know what you think about this episode. I'll keep you posted on my surgery and all of that. But a couple of people have asked, like literally a couple. And I'm like, I need to record an episode on this because any episode I do on health and being proactive and just, this is real life. Like, this is the shit that's seriously happening to me. So when you don't see me post on Instagram stories all the time, it's because I'm dealing with this bullshit. So hopefully by recording this episode, I shared a couple new tips and tricks with you. And if you have any questions about like my behind the scenes process or like just need more help, obviously I'm not a medical expert. However, I am a professional patient. I haven't said that in a while. Now I'm back at it. Just message me online or leave a review for the show and we can get in touch and I can like literally show you my process. Like sometimes it's hard. I will be doing more videos on patient advocacy on my TikTok, so stay tuned for that. There are quite a few now, so you can scroll through, but you can actually get the visual of like how I organize. And it's not just for business, it's for health and medical and everything else I mentioned today. So just check out all the show notes for today and you'll get all the links and everything I talked about. And I hope that this episode helped you. If you think that it will help a friend, just share it. I'd really appreciate that. And I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks so much for tuning in to Everything is Messy, the podcast. If you enjoyed what you heard today, I would love to know. Just leave me a review on the app or website you're listening on. To learn more about myself, join the community, read my book, or shop the collection, visit everythingismessy.com. While you're there, be sure to sign up to receive my weekly newsletter so you get all my announcements first. For all the behind the scenes and day-to-day content, follow along on Instagram at Kellyanne Gorman Official and Everything is Messy Collection. Links are in the show notes. If you have a product, brand, story, or service you would like to share, send me a message on everythingismessy.com today. As always, thanks for listening, sharing, and reviewing. It truly means the world to me. Wishing you a happy, healthy, positive, and productive day, and I'll talk to you again soon. Everything is Messy is produced and syndicated under A Million Dreams Publishing. For more information on how you can launch your own book, podcast, or digital series, visit amilliondreamspublishing.com.